When Pac-Man hit arcades in 1980, it took the video game world and arcades by storm, as it was unlike anything anybody had ever seen before. It immediately turned into a mega success and was constantly being fed quarter after quarter by eager gamers. For the first time in video game history, a video game actually had a mascot. Pac-Man was so popular in the early 80s, it spawned off multiple sequels, cartoon show, toys, board games, breakfast cereal, and even had its own hit single, Pac-Man Fever. Pac-Man was the first major craze in video gaming. So when word got out in 1982 that Atari had acquired the Pac-Man license and was working on a home console port of the game, it unsurprisingly lit the video game world on fire, as fans were overly excited about being able to play Pac-Man in their own homes. Naturally expecting high sales, Atari produced over 1 million copies of the game and held a National Pac-Man Day on April 3rd, 1982 to promote its release. Pop the game in, turn the system on, and the first thing you're treated to is a game that looks nothing like the arcade version of Pac-Man. The color palettes are all different. The maze isn't even close to what it looks like in the arcade. The dots that Pac-Man eats has become dashed lines. The power pellets in each corner has turned into little squares, and even the fruit in the middle has been replaced by a cube of some kind. To make matters worse, Pac-Man himself looks nothing like he did in the arcade, and the ghosts are just a flickering, pixelated mess. And although at the time many fans were okay with their home version of Pac-Man, a large portion of fans were not, which ultimately led to many copies being returned to video game stores and put Pac-Man among the lead culprits of the video game crash of 1983. So what exactly went wrong with the Atari 2600 port of Pac-Man? Unlike other Atari failures like E.T., which was given only 5 weeks to complete, Pac-Man was given 6 months to be ported over to their system. Lead programmer Todd Fry claims he spent 80-hour work weeks for 6 straight months working on the game. Atari played it extremely cheap in developing the game, using their standard 4KB ROM cartridge, which was chosen for its lower manufacturing costs, rather than using the 8KB cartridges that had just became available. One of the major complaints, the horrendous flickering of the 4 ghosts. Since Atari couldn't use 5 moving sprites on screen at the same time, the flickering takes place because each ghost only appears once out of every 4 frames. Fry had plans in the works for a flicker management system to try to get rid of that. It ended up scrapping the idea because Atari didn't care about the issue. It was fixated on getting the game released as fast as possible. Also, according to Fry, the reason that the maze has a blue background instead of the arcade-accurate black was that Atari's official home product policy states that only space-type games should feature black background. Did you own Pac-Man for the Atari 2600 back in 1982? What were your original thoughts the first time you put the game in? Were you shocked and disappointed at the poor quality in comparison to the arcade version? Or were you just happy to be able to play Pac-Man at home? Considering that the game is still being talked about to this day, it gives it a place in video game history. You almost can't talk about how great and impactful the arcade version was without bringing up the terrible 2600 port. Be sure to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of the arcade version and the 2600 port.